Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Liz Hiller, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, What College Students Want from Recruiters, Insights from NACE survey data. Hear from students. It is my pleasure to introduce today's sponsor, Matt Burnt, the head of Indeed Job Search Academy.
Thank
Let me
you, Liz.
stop sharing for you.
There we go. I think we're sharing, and I believe you all can see my slides. Liz, thank you so much. It's great to be here, and Indeed is honored to sponsor the 2024 NACE Student Survey Report. As a longtime Career Center director and a former NACE and Regional ACE board member, I'm always happy to be back amongst my colleagues in career services and talent attraction. It was great to see so many of you in Phoenix at the 2024 conference, and I look forward to seeing you again in Philly in 2025, where Indeed will again be the sponsor of the opening keynote. Can't wait to see you there. Before we dig into the student survey results, though, NACE has given me the opportunity to share a few words about Indeed and our Job Search Academy, and I promise you, I'll keep it brief. You're likely already aware that Indeed's the world's #1 job site with sites in 60 countries and 28 languages. We try to help everyone just about everywhere pursue better work and get hired. 23 hires are made every minute on Indeed, and worldwide, more than 350 million people visit Indeed every month. In the US alone, more than 1.43 million companies use Indeed to hire. But did you know that we also host the world's largest work well-being survey? Our company pages host more than 1 billion ratings and reviews worldwide, billion with a B. We host a dynamic salary database. We've got a YouTube channel and an online career guide with more than 10,000 articles related to job search, resume writing, interviewing, negotiation, career development, and we bring all of these resources together in a one-stop online Career Center resource and wraps them in on-demand and live job seeker workshops and webinars through the Job Search Academy, and it's all free. In June at the NACE conference, we introduced this free Job Search Academy partnership for colleges, and since then, more than 100 schools have elected to supplement their career services with Indeed's resources through a custom co-branded Job Search Academy partner landing page, like the one you see on the screen for our newest partner just announced yesterday, Kansas State University. So if you'd like to learn more about becoming a partner, just shoot me an email, or you can, if your schedule allows, tomorrow, join us for a group information session. I'm going to drop my email address and the link to that information session into the chat. That's enough about Indeed. Now let's talk about research. According to Indeed's 2024 Workforce Insights report, 69% of US workers and 75% of Gen Z in the US felt optimistic about their job prospects in 2024. Our Workforce Insights report, easy for me to say, surveyed the US workforce to learn about their experience and motivations when it comes to work and job search and the barriers they encounter searching for better work. We did not focus specifically on the experience of college students as they prepare to make the transition from college to career. NACE did that and does that every year through their annual student survey and report, exploring the attitudes, preferences, and outcomes of bachelor's degree students at four-year schools. That is what you're here to learn about today. So let me get out of your way and turn things back over to Liz. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate that, and for Indeed for sponsoring today's event. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Sean Vanderzeel, President and Chief Executive Officer for NACE, and Dr. Joshua Kahn, Associate Director of Research and Public Policy for NACE. Take it away, Sean and Josh.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you today for this. What is it? Are we on Wednesday already of the week, or I don't know where we are, but we're here together. So it's so great to be here. Thank you, Matt. Thank you indeed. We're so just thrilled that with your sponsorship and enabling us to do such great work to provide really interesting and insightful information to our members and all of those around the world who are interested in college graduates and what they're thinking So we have our student survey, which we did this year, our 2024 survey that has over, I think, Josh, you can correct me, like over 20,000 students participated in the survey this year. So we have some great results. Of course, the results come from every different type of institution, from every level of student, and we bring that all together to provide you with some insights that are hopefully helpful in your connection of college grads to the workforce. So how we're going to do this today is that Josh and I are going to exchange some conversation together around the actual data. Josh is going to share with you the data points, give some interpretation. Once we've done that, we're going to turn to the students and we're going to ask them about those data points that we're hearing. And then we're going to rinse and repeat. So we're then going to turn to another set of data that and things that we've learned and with Josh, and then we're going to turn to the students. Meanwhile, if you have questions, please add your questions to the Q&A. We'd love to see what those are. We'll try to pick up some of those along the way and towards the end. And also, we'd love to just hear your feedback about what you're hearing. If you have additional insights, things that you found helpful, useful, etc., and please do that in the chat. We'd love to see interaction among everyone together, because we are a community and it's always wonderful to learn from our community together. So let's use the chat to do that, and the Q&A if you have questions about any of the insights that you're hearing. All right, so with that, Dr. Josh Kahn is with us today. Josh, will you introduce yourself and provide us with the first set of data?
Yes. Hello, everybody out in the Zoom world. My name is Josh Kahn. I'm the Associate Director of Research and Public Policy for NACE. I've been with NACE, about 6 years, 6+ years, and I've been working on this student survey for that length of time. We have introduced these dashboards a few years ago, and so I am going to be flipping back and forth when I show data between some slides, when I'm pulling from the report. In the report, we've tried to put in some longitudinal charts, so data over time that we've been collecting, and then in the dashboard, we use that year's data, and then we make it very filterable. So we're going to show both, and then hope that that provides good information for a conversation with the students, which I'm very excited to hear from them. So without further ado, I will jump into the first set of data. Let's share screen. And go into slideshow. Okay, so let's see how my screen sharing goes. All right, before we get into the job search and different student preferences, let's talk about experiential learning and internships. Here we see that
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Josh, you might want to go in presenter mode.
Yep. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Here we see graduating seniors. We're going to show mostly information about graduating seniors here. We see that graduating seniors are participating in experiential learning more generally at the highest levels that we've recorded in the past 14 years since the student survey began. About 6 in 7 graduating seniors, 6 out of 7, have participated in some type of experiential learning during their undergraduate college career. And we can see that internships, with the second chart, internships are really the primary way that students are getting this type of experience. If we look more broadly at undergraduates, the practicum number will increase, as will on-campus student work, but we are focusing on graduating seniors here, and they're primarily trying to focus on internships as they get ready to graduate. And the last chart we're throwing up here is the percent of interns who are paid. As you all know, this is something we're very passionate about at NACE, and the trend looks pretty good right now. We're on the way up. That's good, but we still have a ways to go. From about 2012 to 2022, so like the 10 years prior to the chart about, we were just bouncing around the range from about 50 to 55% paid. And in 2023, which also coincided with our Unpaid is Unfair campaign, we may have broken out of that range. And hopefully that means that we are now, on a nice trend line upwards. So that is something that we are very hopeful about, and we'll continue our advocacy in this regard. Now, with that, I will stop sharing, and then we will bring our
yeah, so thanks, Josh. And as we talk about experiential learning, we are talking broadly about all of the experiences. So we can talk both about experiential learning broadly, but also internships specifically. And I'd like to do that with the students now. So if we can have our students all come onto the screen, and I'm going to start with Ava. And Ava, if you wouldn't mind, one, introduce yourself, but two, if you can talk to us about the importance for you of experiential learning and what you're hearing from your peers in terms of the importance of experiential learning. So first, introduction, and then two, if you can answer that question for us.
Absolutely. So my name is Ava. I am a senior at the University of South Carolina. I am majoring in computer information systems with a minor in business information management. So I'm graduating in May, and I'm hoping to land a full-time job after graduation somewhere in the technology business consulting field. I'm open to a lot. But so with internships, I would say that my internship that I had 2 summers ago, I was a software engineer intern in New York City. And that internship was my most important and crucial part, I think, of my academic journey so far, simply because I learned more than just like the actual coding and technology part, but I learned like what I really want to do with my career post grad. And I saw what I liked, what I didn't like, what I was looking forward to in my eventually, when I did get that full-time offer, I was looking for, what do I really want to do for essentially the rest of my life. So my internship was really crucial for really just like navigating my path. And same thing went for my peers, my friends. We all kind of had that same opinion when we all had our first internships.
Thank you for that, Ava. And with that, I'd like to turn to Valerie. So Valerie, same thing for you. If you can introduce yourself, but then if you can tell us, because you've also had an internship experience, and tell us what happened with your internship, and we'll dive a little bit deeper too.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Valerie. I currently work as an HR business management analyst on the HR solutions team at MUFG Bank in New York City. And I did both my master's and my bachelor's at Stony Brook University. Shout out Stony Brook University Career Center. I see Ursula in the chat. It's nice to see you. So I did an internship at MUFG between my bachelor's and master's year, and they actually offered me back a full-time role upon graduating with my master's, and I was lucky enough to accept that, and now here I am. So clearly that internship was very vital in my career path, and I think internships and experiential learning in general was very important for me because my education didn't directly translate onto my career path. So I did my bachelor's in psychology and my master's was my MBA. So, and now I'm in human resources. So it wasn't a direct, studied human resources in school and then joined human resources. And the only way that I was able to get that experience was through internships and experiential learning.
Yeah, so that was really important. I guess, they offered you a job as you were concluding that internship. And the question always is why did you accept the job though? So like you could have just put that on your resume and gone and pursued other things. What was it about that offer that kept you?
So there were various things. One, I liked the work that I was doing and I wanted to continue to pursue it at that company. And I enjoyed the people at the company. I think it was also a level of comfort after hearing about other people experiencing the trials and tribulations of the job search. It was a level of comfort to know that I had this job to go to and that I already knew the people, the work, the culture. And another point was, I guess, a more superficial level was the allure of a job in Manhattan and Midtown. And the salary was also a huge perk, being a very large global company located in New York City.
Great. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of inputs that come into decision making, absolutely. And it can change, like you said, the course of what you had originally envisioned. And so it's really interesting to hear how that process worked for you, which was a little different than what's been happening with Joshua. So, Joshua, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the crowd. And then if you can let us know a little bit about your internship experience in terms of just that, even that offer process, like what happened with you, which was very different from Valerie.
Yeah, for sure. So first off, hello everybody. My name is Josh Rosala. I'm currently a mechanical engineering major, junior at Stony Brook University. Go Seawolves. And a little bit about my background and how I got into the internship workforce. A strong part of it was using my career center. So when I first came in as a freshman, I got involved with the National Society of Black Engineers chapter at my school. And through them, I actually learned a lot of the upperclassmen within our chapter were getting a lot of internship offers and job offers through utilizing the services at the career center. So it was through my fellow students that I saw being successful that I actually learned of the career center on our campus, and I started to utilize their resources. And through them, I met with the lovely faculty, such as, Kimberly Joy Dixon, I know she's in the chat here, who helped me secure a lot of those opportunities that I was able to achieve. For example, my freshman year, I got a co-op opportunity over the summer because the Career Center actually helped me prep my resume and actually helped me prep for mock interviews. So when I was able to actually have that opportunity, I was able to succeed and, get that internship or co-op in that case. And the following summer, I did the same thing again. There was a NSBE conference that I was about to go to. I made sure to, log practice meetings with the Career Center for practicing my pitch, going over my resume, and doing a bunch of mock interviews again, because you can never have too many. And I was able to find success at that other job conference as well because of the preparation I did with my Career Center. So, and also the experience that I had from those internships actually aligned with what I would do in my coursework. So for example, when I worked at Gilbane as a project engineer with steel toe boots and a hard hat every day, it made me realize what the industry actually values in the course load that you take. For example, they really like proficiency in reading technical drawings. So now I know that for my technical electives, I'm going to be trying to focus a little bit more on those in-demand skills for the job market. And I wouldn't have known that information unless I had, those experiences.
And Joshua, if I remember this correctly, one of these places actually offered you a job, right?
Yeah, so at DuPont, where I was a co-op, I did also receive a return offer to come back as a co-op again the following summer. And Gilbane, where I worked at last summer, I also received a return offer to come back.
But you haven't accepted either of those, right?
I have not as of yet, and this upcoming summer, I'm actually currently lined up to work at GE Aerospace as an intern.
So you're really checking things out. You're truly using this for career exploration. And what would you say, just as another follow-up question, for those employers who are listening to us? I mean, you basically will have 3 companies that you will have worked for, and I'm going to assume the third one's going to offer you a job too. And so, what happens? How can they keep you warm to have you eventually accept that offer? What would it take?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest part of that is honestly the community created at the workplace. For example, my experience at Gilbane, I didn't only have my boss that I was reporting to, but they also actually set me up with a mentorship program where I had 2 mentors and I would speak to them weekly in a much more informal setting. And those connections that I was able to create with my mentors, and because my boss was so welcoming, I actually speak to them consistently, throughout my semester as well. And I don't just see them as, co-workers that I worked with over the summer. I see them as actual friends and actual people in the industry that I could, ask for advice on certain things. when selecting technical electives, when, selecting career paths, when trying to consider what I should be doing with my time in college, having those industry connections of people that actually I know that care about me because they treated me so well while I was there. So I would say the biggest thing is creating that inclusive community to make an intern not feel like an intern. For example, like I keep mentioning this Gilbane experience because at that experience, I wasn't in an office. I was actually in a trailer on a construction site with the project manager, the project engineer, and the superintendent for the company. And my desk and computer was right next to theirs. And there wasn't really any separation in workload and whatnot. What they had to do, I had to do. And they gave me the type of work that they were doing consistently. So I really felt like I was part of the team, almost like I was working full time. And because of that experience, it really made me feel included, feel part of the team. And experiences like that definitely make me look fondly of a company and want to come back.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Joshua. It was truly insightful in thinking through what happens with an internship and what makes them successful and what happens post the internship. And so now we're going to move on to another topic because we got several topics to get to. We could talk about internships all day long, and I would love to do that, but we've got some other insights we want to switch to. And the next one is the job search process and the job market. So Josh Kahn, if you could share with us what you have.
Yes, and in several of the answers we just heard, or all of the answers we heard, nuggets that we will touch on later as we talk about some student preferences. But we do want to talk about the job market and the job search for the class of 2024, which is one of the main focal points of the survey. And there we go. Okay. So the job market was a little bit tougher for the class of 24 compared to the class of 23. Here, this first chart shows that the class of 24 had to submit, on average, more job applications, but they ended up with fewer job offers. So the yellow chart there shows 45% of graduating seniors had a job offer in hand by the survey window time, compared to 56% of graduating seniors the prior year. The class of 22 also had a similar experience to 23 during those two very large hiring years. Longitudinally, we're looking at average job offers per student, and you can see, I mean, is like very symmetrical there, which is coincidental. But you can see that 21 was a tough year, tough hiring year. That was a big pandemic year, and 24 we see it return back to those levels, decreasing from those strong hiring years of 22 and 24. So class of 24 had a tougher year. In a source of good news, hopefully, our job outlook survey from this fall, which just closed about a month ago or so, has predicted a slight increase for the class of 25. So moving forward, we're thinking that hiring should be up in our projections. So we are looking for a little bit of a rebound moving forward for the class of 25, but we do want to talk about the class of 24 had a tougher time overall than prior years.
Thanks, Josh, for that. And so knowing that it's a little bit of a tougher job market, it seems like you probably need to use a number of sources to look for a job. I'm sure students are a little bit concerned. So I would love to hear from our panelists about how you and your peers are actually searching for jobs. Like, what are the things that you're using? How are you going about it? Or how did you go about it recently? So Valerie, do you want to kick us off on this one?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I guess I would touch more on my experience in searching for my internship. I applied on various platforms, LinkedIn, Indeed, Handshake as well. I would say I probably applied to about 50 internships, and I will say I think I started the search late. I think you're supposed to start usually around August for the following, I guess, start time, which would be May if you're graduating, or if you're, summer internship. So I think I started in November and applied to about 50. And I had a decent amount of phone screens and a couple first and second rounds. I didn't have any other competing offers other than MUFG. So I will say I started late and I didn't apply to that high of a volume. Um, my search was pretty targeted in looking for human resources roles in New York City. So it was pretty targeted. So the 50 applications were concise.
Yeah,
Um,
and Valerie, one of the things that I thought was interesting was you had some insights also on kind of what your friends were doing, because yours was pretty targeted in terms of the things that you were doing, but you learned that your friends were going about it a little bit differently, right?
yeah, so my friends that have been engaging in the job search have heard that they weren't sure exactly what they wanted to do, what industry, or even what job. So they were applying to various roles in various industries, whether that's audit, human resources, marketing, communications, just really a broad range of searches. And from our colleagues at Career Services, the Career Center at Stony Brook, we heard that that might actually be hurting their ability to find an internship due to the fact that if you're applying to 10 internships a day and you have a targeted search to one area, then you're applying to 10 internships in that area. But if you only have time to apply to 10 internships a day and that's going to 5 different areas, then you're really only applying to 2 jobs per day per area. And so we heard that that was kind of hurting their search.
Gotcha. Very good. Um, uh, Joshua or Ava, do you have anything to add to the job search process and, using various boards or other ways of navigating finding a job or an internship?
Yeah, I know. So shout out to the Career Center at USC. I know you guys are watching. I'm a student employee there. So I see a lot of behind the scenes of the way students can get employed as well. And one thing USC, the Career Center, is great at is putting on job fairs, multiple throughout each semester for all types of majors. Our biggest one is the STEM fair, which I might be biased towards because I'm a STEM student as well. But it's 2 days long. They get so many employers there of all different type of STEM like industries and careers. So our students, I'm also in the engineering fraternity at USC. So my engineering friends as well utilize that fair a lot, and like they prepare their resumes, their elevator pitches, and they go and they really land jobs there. So job boards as well, but the career fairs could be really helpful.
Awesome. Great. Joshua,
Yeah,
do you have
just
anything to add?
Yeah, for sure. Just to add a little tidbit on there as well. I actually secured my Gilbane opportunity at a school career fair as well. At my freshman year opportunity, I also secured at a career fair, but it was with the national conference for the National Society of Black Engineers. So another thing I would strongly recommend is, when you're applying to 50 different companies online, just shooting your resume out, ATS is brutal, and it can be really hard to get your resume in front of a recruiter and actually get that interview to sell yourself. But the beautiful thing about job conferences is that hiring managers are right there. The technical person that's going to be doing your technical interviews are right there. So the ability to kind of get yourself in places where you can meet people face to face is crucial. And even better if you can find conferences, not just at your school, but outside of your school that kind of tailor to the niche of your major, whether it be NABA for business majors within a school, or myself, National Society of Black Engineers, someone getting into aeronautics, AIAA, someone getting into electrical engineering, IEEE. Finding those conferences that are in line with whatever you are trying to do, you can always go to those, network with people, and get opportunities that you may not have found just searching online.
Great insight. Having people who have actually done the job there is really important, and that networking that you can do and the learning that you can gain from them is super valuable for students. Okay, Josh Khan, we're going to move over to another subject, which is the use of career services. Can you tell us what we found in the survey?
Yes. So Got the dashboard up. Okay, so we do track different services that are used, career fairs attended, outcomes from career fairs, like percent that get interviews and job offers from their career fairs. And the numbers are pretty interesting. What I was hoping to touch on with the students in particular is what career centers can do to sort of help students get into the door, really. Like what do they need to do to help students feel welcome and valued at the Career Center? So we heard some of that in the students' comments already. And so just pulling my notes over. So you can see here, we ask a set of questions about belonging on campus. Do you feel welcome? Do you feel valued in different areas of the campus experience? And you can see here, there's some text on here on the screen, but you can see that feeling welcomed at the Career Center, if my mouse is helpful to direct your attention, feeling welcomed at the Career Center, 71% of students agreed that they felt welcomed at the Career Center, and 74% felt comfortable seeking help from someone at the Career Center related to their career development. Now, 7 out of 10, 74%, that's not bad, right? But we want to see that higher. You know, for example, for comparison, 87% of students felt comfortable discussing their academic and career development with faculty. So I would like to see these numbers get up closer to that 87%. And, you know, I just want to sort of show what the dashboard can do a little bit at the same time. We have these filters over here. So someone just asked in the chat to look at some of the job applications, for example, by some of these different filters. That is possible. That's done on another page up here, which you can reach from these tabs up here. But really briefly, I just wanted to go through some of these charts. I'm going to be mostly looking over here at the Career Center and this one over here, comfortable seeking help, and show you how some of these different student groups feel. Not huge differences. For example, Pell Grant students, a little lower, right? You can see the numbers move down a little bit. Students with disabilities feel a little less welcome. 64% feel welcome at the Career Center. So not an enormous difference, but you can see there are some differences by these demographic groups, right? Also 64, 66, they're expressing that they're not feeling like there's as much welcome as some of these other student groups. Caregivers, we defined as people that are parents or caregivers to another family member, like maybe they're helping take care of their parent. Non-traditional students, this will be the last one I click on. Non-traditional students, the numbers go pretty far down. We're talking about 60% now. And their numbers even suffer when we're looking at some of these other areas on campus. So there is one other filter I want to click on. Black students, we're talking about 71, 74. You can see the rest of their numbers are going to go down, but the Career Center numbers go up, which is sort of an unusual pattern compared to the rest of the demographic groups. So I think this is another slight indicator that Career Centers are doing a pretty decent job, or at least making a decent effort at reaching out to Black students and trying to make sure that they feel comfortable and welcome at the Career Center.
So with that, we'd love to turn to our panelists to talk about that comfort level with the Career Center. I mean, those numbers were pretty good, but they could be even better, right? We want that to be 100% of students feeling comfortable going to the Career Center. So I'd love to just find out from you what you think Career Centers could do to make themselves more welcoming and valuable places for students. Ava, would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, I think just to start, one of the biggest maybe misconceptions of the Career Center is that students just don't really know everything that they really do offer. I know before I started working there, I thought it was maybe just like a resume type of thing, but the Career Center offers so many different things, from resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn tips, mock interviews. Even if you're a freshman, just want to sit down there and say, I don't really know what I'm doing. What type of career could I have? You could sit down with the coach for 45 minutes and talk that out as much as you need to. So I think there's a lot of things that students really don't know are offered. And so I feel like that's also kind of why they might not be comfortable, because they don't really know what they're walking into. They might think that they need to go in there with, the idea of what they want to do, they need to have legit questions, but really you can go in there with no direct path and just say, I need help in general. And a coach could kind of walk you by that. So I think kind of the way just to maybe like fix that and make students feel more comfortable is simply word of mouth, testimonials from other students who went there and said, hey, I just talked to a coach. It was a great session. I learned so much. I feel so much more confident in what I'm doing. So I think that and just, yeah, good word of mouth.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice, which is getting the testimonial from students so that it's not just here are all the list of things that you can do from the Career Center, but it's hearing from other students to say, this is what happened with me when I went to the Career Center, or I went in and I didn't understand this, or I went in and I didn't know about this, so that students have the opportunity to think through the fact that they don't have to have the answers. And that's why they're going to the Career Center, right? So they don't have to feel like a dummy going into the office, right? Like that's certainly would be the objective.
It's kind of like, can I go in there with no idea of what I want to do? Some students, I feel like, what, that was me freshman year. I was kind of like, it takes a while to kind of get over that. And it's okay to really have no idea. So.
Yeah. And so, and also I'd like to talk about obstacles. Like what do you all think are some of the obstacles students face with going to career services? Joshua, do you have any insight?
Yeah, if I could butt in here really quickly. One major thing that I really noticed when I was actually just talking to one of our members of the Career Center over here at Stony Brook is that a lot of the times the Career Center and the faculty of each respective department for each major can often be disconnected. For example, each semester for the mechanical engineering department here, we have to meet with our faculty advisor with not only our plans for our upcoming registration for our classes, but also our career plans. So they can give us a little bit of insight on how we can maybe tailor our classes to get into the industry that we want to get to. But when I was just mentioning this offhand to one of our members of the Career Center, they had no idea that this was actually a process that the mechanical engineering department did. And if they did, there could potentially be collaboration there to help provide services to those that are in those meetings. One major part of those meetings with the department is career outlook, and they give a little advice on how to be successful in that range. And the Career Center has valuable information that could be provided to those students, but they're missing out on it because those two departments are disconnected. So I think a really big part that can help career centers reach out to students is getting more integrated with the departments for each respective major on the campus. And another thing is connecting with student organizations. How I mentioned I got into contact with my Career Center my freshman year, it was through the National Society of Black Engineers. We had an event with a partner company, and the Career Center tagged along to help us partner with the event. And I was able to meet a couple of representatives there. And the upperclassmen of my chapter introduced me, told me how they helped them, and I was able to start fostering that connection. So really interconnectedness with the campus. If you are just, kind of an office over in the corner and people aren't really walking in, as Ava said, a lot of the times they can think like, oh, they're a big professional place. I don't really have in my mind what I want to do. I'm not really set. I can't walk in there and be effective. Versus if you integrate yourself within the operations of your respective university or whatever organization you're a part of, you can connect with students on a deeper level, a more personal level, and create those connections, as we were looking at the data before, to have that percentage higher. Because students see their faculty every day, they don't see the Career Center every day. To increase that visibility the Career Center has to those respective students can go a long way.
That's right. I really appreciate your candidness with this, and you all are career service champions, by the way. So it's great for you being able to layer in all of this advice, seeing it from the other side. So all the positive stuff, but you're also hearing from your fellow students what more could happen. We do need to move on, and we're going to talk about now modality. So Josh Kahn.
Yes. Those are such great points. And we recognize at NACE that reaching out and connecting with faculty is really one of the next frontiers that we are trying to work on. But we are going to switch modes and think about modality here as a preference for a first or next job. or internship. Modality continues to be an important part of the job search right now. Graduating seniors seem to prefer to be more in person than older, more seasoned employees. A recent Gallup poll from 2023 found that 60% of workers with remote capable jobs preferred a hybrid arrangement. That's quite a bit higher than what we see here from our graduating seniors. I also want to note that this 6% number we're seeing for virtual preferences, I personally think is going to be around the floor of what we see. I don't think we're going to go much lower than this 6%. It reminds me of a question we asked during COVID of students about their preferences, and we gave them different COVID conditions. If COVID is surging, if COVID is sort of at a baseline, or if COVID wasn't a thing at all to worry about, would you prefer to be recruited in person or virtually? And if COVID wasn't a thing to worry about at all, 6% of students still would be prefer to be in a virtual environment. So those could be students with mobility issues, with significant, like maybe social anxiety or other concerns. So people maybe that are immunocompromised. So there's going to be a different groups of people, but I think that that 6% number is pretty much as low as we are going to go.
Great.
And
So
yeah.
it does seem like virtual is certainly the future. And when we say virtual, particularly for students coming right out of school, it's really about hybrid, right? So it's taking the best of both worlds, but students clearly understand the importance of being in person,
Right.
and gaining that experience. I'd love to let's turn to Valerie first, since she's in a job and really thought through this. Tell us about your experiences, Valerie.
Yeah, so I'm having a pretty great experience with the flexibility at MUFG. I currently work 4 days in the office with a choice of remote day. So it's helpful for various reasons where if I'm sick, I can still work from home. I don't have to use sick time and worry about getting others sick in the office, feeling this necessity to come in. But I have a bit of a unique experience because my MUFG is a global company, so my team doesn't actually sit in my office. They're in LA or Tokyo, and so I don't interact with my team face to face, but I still get that interaction with my other colleagues in the office. So meeting other people is hugely important. I had COVID for 1 week earlier this summer, and I really missed coming into the office. So I think flexibility is the key more than anything. Having that work-life balance of if you need to work hybrid, you can.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. And I'm going to push us along, everyone, because we've got several more data points to get to that I want to make sure everyone's able to weigh in on. And we're going to move over to workplace culture. Josh Kahn.
All right. No. Okay, we're going full screen again. Okay. So when we look at the dashboard here, we can see some differences between demographic groups. We ask about this set of attributes of the job and the organization, and students rate them, and then we list their preferences here. We also have a set of benefits that we ask about as well that are here, and here are those modality preference numbers as well. Again, we can sort these results by different demographic groups. And a few of them really, one stood out to me, was quite striking, that the organization embraces diversity. Overall, about 50% of folks endorse this item, and we have about, so 50%, 970, so about 1,900 people answered this question, 1,900 graduating seniors. But when we look at Black students in particular, it jumps up to number one. 78% said this is very or extremely important. So there are some differences here by demographic groups. And I invite folks to play with the dashboard and see how different demographic groups, different student groups value these different attributes of the job and organization. But really, one of the sort of highlights from the survey this year, beyond some of those demographic differences, is that, and we heard this earlier in the webinar, that students this year are very focused on workplace culture, and that the organization promotes a healthy workplace culture as opposed to like a toxic culture is now second on the list, and friendly coworkers second and third. So culture is extremely important to the class of 2024, and that has sort of moved the ability to develop your skills down to fifth and sixth. We do always see that job stability and security is number one, so that stayed. But we see that this sort of emergence of workplace culture is something that's really important, which does work hand in hand with the desires for being in person. These are sort of some emerging trends that we're focused on, and we are going to be tracking as we move forward.
Yeah, so the two items related to skills had previously been higher. So they had been number 2 and number 3. The next year, I think they went down to number 3 and number 4. So now we saw these go down even further to 5 and 6, and other things are taking their place. So we'd love to turn to our panelists to just see if there was anything surprising to you here, and if you have any commentary around the workplace culture. How about Joshua?
Yeah, most definitely. As Josh mentioned before, number one is always going to be workplace stability at 78%, but only 1% down was workplace culture, which kind of goes to show how like the magnitude that our current generation holds that to be valued. And that goes in line with what myself thinks and my colleagues think as well. While developing skills is a huge part of any internship, as you don't want to be wasting your time there, a lot of the times it can hinder your experience to even develop those skills if you are in a toxic environment. If you're going into work in a place where you don't even want to be there constantly, it will kind of be a weight on your shoulders, and you won't be able to be as productive. But if you're in a place that encourages you to succeed, while for example, using my experiences, while I was a project engineering intern for Gilbane, the company also, when they set me up with mentors, set me up in mentors in different departments so I could get exposed to different parts of the business. And because they were so invested into making sure that the interns had a good experience and gave me the opportunity to wear different hats, I was in turn able to develop skills that I wouldn't have if they wouldn't have given me the opportunity to explore other departments within the organization. Sometimes they would even let me take a day off from the construction site to come to the main office to spend a day with someone in a different department, just to see, different parts of the business. And that in turn let me discover, what skills were valuable, what skills I wanted to develop myself, and came in contact with those people and stayed contacted with them throughout my entire internship. So yeah, workplace culture in turn allows you to develop those skills, which I definitely agree with it being way up there per se.
Yeah, thanks for that, Josh. I think it's, all of us, particularly as those have been workplace a long time, we talk a lot about, not wanting to be in a toxic culture, all that, but we probably didn't talk about it the same way that you are today, like when we were emerging into the workforce. And so it's really interesting to see how the dynamics of the world have changed and how emerging professionals are clued in much more earlier than they had in the past, and place such an importance on it. And it's not just about getting the job, it's about what that job is about and what's going to happen there. All right, Josh, we're going to move over now. And if you wouldn't mind covering 2 different data points, and then we're going to have the students come on them quickly, which is economic security and attending recruiting events.
Okay, so economic security. All right, so we asked a new set of questions. Are you all seeing my Zoom disappeared?
Yep, we got it. We got it.
All right, cool. So we asked a new set of questions this year. What are important factors that matter to you when you're deciding whether to relocate for a job after college? And you can see here, we tried to span different parts of people's lives, and by far, the affordable cost of living in the new location was, far and away the most important factor that students were considering, compared to whether there was a vibrant nightlife, for example. And again, if you look at some demographics over here and in the filters, you can see some differences emerge by different demographics, but not quite as large as you might think. Really, what we took away from this and job security, and the other one that we looked at, is that students right now are focused on economic security and affordability in their life. And of course, that makes sense with all of the talk of inflation the last few years. So in my mind, students are very sharp, and they are responding to the current needs and current situation that we find ourselves in this current economy. So I want to give students a lot of credit for being sharp and not sort of like getting stuck on things that might be fun, like a vibrant nightlife in that city, right? So students have their eye on the ball, and employers making their offers need to recognize that as well. So we've got that for relocation factors, and then recruiting activities. We asked them what different recruiting activities they participated in. And you can see we've crossed that with some other pieces of information here. Again, you can do some filtering, but we had 51% of graduating seniors participate in career fairs or attend a career fair. That is a pretty solid number across the nation. But we also had about 29–30% that did not participate in any recruiting event. This was a select all that apply type of question, so that's why you'll see the numbers don't add up to 100%. And you can see that students really are finding value in career fairs and seemingly spreading the word, because we have such good participation there.
Great. Thanks for those data points, Josh. So I want to turn to our panelists quickly here. And on the economic security, I'd like to turn to Ava. If you could talk to us about like what's your response to these considerations? What are you hearing? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, definitely finances is probably one of the biggest like things you think about when getting a job is how much they're paying you, where will you kind of gain the most, what career path will make you the most financially stable. I know for me, post-grad, I am going to move back home, back to New Jersey for probably around a year so that I can save up money, become financially stable with myself before I move out on my own. So for me, I'm definitely looking at jobs back at home just because I know I'd be secure there for some time so I can save up for myself. So that is a big aspect for me of where I'm trying to find a job. So that's also kind of bounces off of like in-person and remote. I would like to not commute every single day, but I also don't want to be fully remote. So it's kind of like a catch-22 of what's really best for you. But economics and finances are definitely like one of the biggest things for me.
Right. And then Valerie, how about this issue around these recruiting events and meeting people at the career fairs? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I'll touch on both a little bit. So I've had great experience putting together job fairs and also attending them, but I do notice that the employers that attend job fairs are usually local to the school. And so some students may either want to relocate for their future job, or maybe they are attending school there, but they don't live there and they're planning on moving back home for a summer internship or their future job. So for career centers, I would say it's important to broaden the employers that they're having at their job fairs, and then also for keeping relocation as a consideration. For companies might be either offering a housing stipend or offering a sign-on bonus that could be dual purpose of padding costs of relocation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joshua, you had some experience even with the relocation, right? Too?
Yeah. So I'm based in Long Island, and my freshman co-op experience for that summer was actually in Richmond, Virginia. And the process of moving over there, it was definitely a little daunting at first, being that I didn't really know anything about Virginia. But fortunately, DuPont not only provided a housing stipend, but they also had a department that was dedicated to helping the interns find housing. They had resources that they gave to me where other interns were going to be living, where other interns had lived in the past, and just in general advice on how to go about navigating the space being far away. Fortunately, they were able to connect me with a fellow intern that was returning and had an apartment that had another apartment open. I was able to get there and we carpooled to work every day. So the commute was taken care of. The help of actually finding an apartment to stay in was also taken care of, not completely by them, but they supported me throughout the entire process. So I think a huge part of it is not only providing the financial assistance, but actual assistance. When you're coming in from really far, just a bit of money, it goes a long way, but actually helping the student to figure out that process, even giving recommendations on where interns have been in the past, definitely helps a lot.
Great. There's so many questions come in. We really don't have time for a lot of them. We've answered many as we've gone through, but would love to just find out from you all how important did networking play a role for any of you with your job search or your internships?
Yeah, networking was huge for me. That's kind of how I landed my first internship, was with like an old time family friend who I've trusted for a while, and he really pointed me in the direction of the position that I got. And he's continuously being like a reference and a resource for me to rely on to get my full-time offer wherever I end up. So networking was huge for me and kind of got me where I am.
Great. Very, very good to know. And then also maybe we can, we talked a little bit about the Career Center previously, but also would love just to know from you all, what else do you wish students knew about the Career Center? So if you were if you were in charge of the Career Center on your campus or another campus, what would be the first thing you would do to help the students? Anyone? No great ideas? Come on.
I mean,
Joshua, I knew you'd have an idea.
yeah, for sure. So I guess me personally, it ties back into what I was mentioning earlier about being integrated with the day-to-day of the campus and not just staying within wherever your office is. Reaching out to student organizations I know is huge, because that is almost one of the first things that most students embrace besides their academics once they come onto campus. Kind of finding that place where they have a community and start feeling connected. If you can integrate yourself within those processes of students connecting themselves with a community where they feel welcome, once again, I say it goes a long way. At the beginning of the semester, a lot of these clubs kind of start planning out their plans for the entire semester. So one thing I would definitely start implementing if I was a career center employee was start working with those student organizations on planning for the semester. So if they're doing, especially professional organizations, if they're doing any sort of career readiness event, definitely be a part of that. If they're doing any sort of conference prep event, definitely offer your resources and be a part of that. It's symbiotic. You help them, they help you.
Awesome. I love that. And it's a great place to end our time together. Dr. Joshua Kahn, amazing as always, providing us with incredible insights. We appreciate you so much. And we also appreciate our three panelists today, our emerging professionals, Valerie, Ava, and Joshua. You are spectacular. We really appreciate it. You filling in some of the color around all of this data that we had there. Super insightful. And of course, we need to thank Matt from Indeed, without whom we wouldn't be able to produce this report. Thank you, Matt. There you are. Yay. Hi, Matt. All right, great. Thank you again, everyone. Thanks for your interaction today. Hope you have a great one, and we'll see you around. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.